I'd like to call this meeting of the Westland City Council to order, please. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, tonight led by London Humphrey and Kiera Irby.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great job. Thanks. All right. So we're just going to share a little good news about you ladies. Good evening, everyone. I'm Councilwoman Tasha Green. I would like to welcome London Humphrey and Kiera Irby to Westland City Council. Thank you so much for doing a great job with the pledge tonight. So we'll start by sharing some really fun facts about London. It says, my name is London Humphrey, and I live with my mom, my sister, and my dog Angel. My dad is in the Army and is deployed right now. I have a lot of interesting tricks, like moving my ears up and down and folding my tongue like a flower. You want to show us any of those tricks tonight? Oh, wow, very cute. We got to get you on TV. London goes on to say, I'm in the 4th grade in Mrs. Buter's class. I love teachers at Elliott School because they are all so nice, and I want to teach the kids, and want to teach the kids what we need to know for college. Awesome. Math is my favorite subject because it's a part of your life. I would like to be an author and write mystery books because I love mysteries. Have you started working on any books yet, London? No? Well, you got plenty of time before you get to college. All right, next up is Kiera Irby. And Kiera says, I am Kiera Irby. I live with my mom, dad, and 2 12-year-old brothers. That has to be a lot of fun. No. All right, I am a gymnast and take classes at Michigan Academy of Gymnastics. I am able to do a lot of backflips and stretching. I won't ask you to do that tonight unless you'd like to. You want to do one? Okay, let's back up and give her room. All right, Kiera. High five. All right, and Kiera goes on to say, I am in the 4th grade in Mrs. Skinner's class. My favorite subject at school is math because it comes easy to me. Wonderful. I would like to be an artist when I'm an adult because I am good at drawing. Anything you ladies would like to say before we take a really nice group photo? How do you feel about being here tonight? Or you think you might want to come back anytime soon?
No.
What about you, Kiera?
Maybe.
Awesome. So what we'll do now is I will ask the principal to come up and share any additional comments about how great these 2 young ladies are. And if there are any family members who would like to join us, we will take a group photo just shortly. So if you'd like to join us, please come on up.
Well, I am very privileged to have been with these fine young ladies since kindergarten. They've been Elliott students since kindergarten, so this is my 5th year working with them. It's been a privilege to watch them grow into fine young ladies that they are. I was meeting with their teachers this morning and just talking about some things, and I mentioned their names, and both of their teachers immediately started telling me, oh my gosh, they are the finest, most responsible, respectful young ladies. They're true leaders in the classroom, and they said above all, they're kind to everybody, and that's what we're working at Elliott, is raising up leaders. Our motto at Elliott is that eagles lead, achieve, and soar together, and these girls are a fine example of that. So girls, thank you for being such great leaders at Elliott.
Well, I would like to present you both with a council a certificate on behalf of City Council and our mayor for your achievements, and we hope that you keep up the great work. You're doing a wonderful job. London and Kiara. All right, we're going to take a group photo if any family members would like to join us. One of the moms made it clear to me, don't ask her to say a word, so I'm not going to ask her to say a word. Are there any parents who would like to say something before the photo, or? All right, awesome. Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Green. Councilman Hart. Councilman Hammonds. Councilman Herzberg. Councilman Johnson. Councilman Londo. President Godbout.
Present.
The quorum is present.
We'll move on to announcements and presentations. Is Brian Jones here? Brian, Mayor, gonna.
Council President, could I get you and the city clerk to join me down here for this presentation, please? Well, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. I'm sure I say it right, Brian Jones. Tonight we're going to honor him with the City of Westland Certificate of Compassion on behalf of the City of Westland, the Westland City Council, and the Westland City Clerk. On the evening of August 29th, the free book exchange drop box at Lincoln Johnson Field was vandalized and the receptacle and the books inside were destroyed. The very same day, and I believe this was finished within 24 hours, Brian stepped up to the plate. He got to work building a brand new one with the help of Cody Bailey and his family from Hush Haunted Attractions, who donated the materials. Mr. Jones completed and installed the new book exchange. It was up by September 1st, and it's been up and running ever since. It's residents like Brian who set a great example of what it means for us to live in a compassionate city. He went above and beyond to give back to our community with no expectation of praise. He had no idea that we were going to do this tonight until just recently. But he is certainly worthy of it. So we thank him tonight and present him with our official certificate of compassion. Brian, it says, Brian Jones has demonstrated the qualities, attributes, and willingness to go above and beyond to help those within our community. You represent the true definition of compassion. On behalf of the City of Westland, signed by myself, President Jim Godbout, and our City Clerk, Richard LeBlanc. So, Brian, on behalf of the City of Westland, Certificate of Compassion. You want to say a few words?
I just have one quick thing to say. I would just like to say thank you to my boss, Cody Bailey, who also owns Hush Haunted Attraction. I just want to say thank you for allowing me the time to do this and also supplying the materials. Other than that, I don't have much.
Brian, we just appreciate, you jumped on it right away, and it's people like you that really make a difference in this community, and I just want to thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Brian, this is an example of what makes a city a community. And so, on behalf of those of us within our office and, of course, the entire community, thanks so much for helping. We truly appreciate your compassion, your interest, and at the end of the day, we appreciate that there's some young people that are going to really benefit from this. Thank you.
consent calendar H. You're not just possession of the property, you're acquiring the property. So you need to change your words if you'll make that change. Thank you. So it's H.
Okay. Officers Kozak and Donald.
Mr. Mayor, Council President, citizens of Westland, we're here today. We had an event on September 15th, 2018. As community officers for the city of Westland, we're constantly being inspired by our administration to come up with innovative ways to bridge the gap with the community and also give back. That is something that Officer Kozak and I, we take a lot of pride in, trying to get out there in the community and kind of get to know people and try to give our way of saying thanks. This year, we wanted the citizens in the community to see not only ourselves, but also the fire department. We held a basketball, the Battle of the Badges event a couple weekends ago, where the police department did win. We did take the celebrations, but the event was held in order to kind of get the citizens in the community to understand that we're normal people, everyday people. We come to work, we have a job to do, and we enjoy doing it, and we also love the community that we serve. To give thanks, we wanted to kind of raise funds during this event for the community. The charity event was for the Norwayne Citizens Council Harvest Fest. So if we can have the members of the Norwayne Citizens Council step on up here for a second. Hey, Hank. During the event, we had multiple vendors. We had the police unions, the fire unions, and also we had a couple of different organizers that participated during this event. In total, we were only hoping for a few dollars. However, between the partnership between us and everyone, we were able to raise a surplus of $2,500.50. So as a thanks, we'd like to say thank you for all that they do for the community. Thank you. Thank you.
Too much.
Too much.
Mayor, President, members of the City Council. My name is Hank Johnson, and I am the chair of the Norwayne Community Citizens Council. And I just want to thank all of you for the contribution that the community policing does not only for the Norwayne community, but for our entire city. These two gentlemen work hard in establishing a positive relationship between the police force and the community, and they are loved and respected within the Norwayne community. The money that they have raised will help us this year expend $5,000 at the Harvest Festival. The Harvest Festival will include a petting zoo, horseback riding, trick or treat, a number of other things. Now, I want to make this very clear. The Norwayne Community Citizens Council is sponsoring and hosting and paying for this event. There's not $1 that will come out of the city's treasury. But this is not just a Norwayne program, a Norwayne activity. It will be hosted at Jefferson Barnes Community Vitality Center for the entire community. The Norwayne Community Citizens Council and all of our events that we have held, and we have held many, has never turned away the first kid, and we never will. We don't ask for residency. We don't ask for any kind of income information. If you're a young kid and you're there to get a service, we are there to provide the service. Police officers, we are very appreciative of everything that you do for us. The money will be spent very well. I'm trying to figure out what I do with that 50 cents. But I want to thank you all. Also, you know, I have a friend that says every time I see you, I want to put my hand on my wallet. When you go shopping for your your Halloween candy, could you pick up a bag or two for our event and drop it off at Jefferson Barnes Monday through Friday, 9 to 5? Thank you very much. You guys need to be very proud of your men. They were wonderful. I have to tell you, it was the police department that won. Thank you.
Very good, very good, very good. All right.
Chief, you wanted to?
Yes, through the chair, I just really quick want to give one more piece of well-deserved credit to our community police officers. Officer Rodney Donald, Officer Shane Kozak. These community police officers continue to put these events together themselves. These are their ideas. These are the officers that put together the recent special needs open house we just had at the police department. They're at every single city event that we have, and I can't thank them enough the way that they represent our department and the job that they are doing to improve police community relations. So I just want to again give them some public credit. Everything that they did was their doing on their own time. They put that together and they do a heck of a job. So thank you guys.
Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you, members of the council. I appreciate having the opportunity to bring you a little update. Just to let everyone know, the Wayne County Commission has completed work and approved the 2018-2019 budget. This balanced budget is just under $1.6 billion. An additional $81 million in this budget will go to unfunded pension liability, continuing to pay that down and improving Wayne County's financial position. The Wayne County Job Fair, I did want to make an announcement that the Wayne County Job Fair that was scheduled for Wednesday, October 17th at Schoolcraft College on Radcliffe in Garden City has been canceled due to a scheduling conflict by the Executives Administration, who scheduled another job fair by mistake in Detroit at the same time. I hope it'll be rescheduled. I hope to have it rescheduled at a later time and date. My coffee hour for Monday is this next Monday for October, and it'll be the last coffee hour for the year for 2018. And as usual, it'll be at the Big Boy on Wayne Road in Hunter, and State Representative Bob Kozowski will be there also. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer it. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to citizens' questions or input on the agenda. Citizens will be recognized before the business of the meeting commences to address the council pertaining to items that are specifically on the business agenda. Citizens are asked to limit their questions or input to 3 minutes. Is there anyone on my left? Anyone on my right? Mr. Graham?
Richard Graham, Westland, also with Move Westland Forward. Regarding item B on a consent calendar, and I guess also based on the study session that was held that I sat in on, it was good to hear the council working together. Just so the citizens know, what was presented is to buy 2 of these trucks for picking up compost, but the proposal was to finance those what they call in arrears. And what that means is you wouldn't pay for them until the next budget year, and you would pay interest on top of that. The interest charge would have been about $71,000 to us, to taxpayers. I am surprised that proposal was even made based on having a budget surplus of around $7 million. Obviously, we're in financial crisis based on our debt to all the retirees, but to pay that type of interest of approximately 4.5% and have that proposed, just obviously I was surprised about. Regarding our sanitation pickup in general, it would be good to continue monitoring the drivers of those vehicles and the wear and tear that they are imposing on those vehicles. We see lots of posts, we see lots of comments directed to us regarding the pickup, and in some opinions of many of the residents, not very good trash pickup. It is what it is. We had our occasion with that experience, so speaking of firsthand knowledge, at least in some cases, that is the truth. That is basically it. Thank you very much.
Anyone on my left? Right?
Yeah, I'm just curious, if we're looking at this Jefferson Barnes windows, 7,250 for approved bid from Jefferson Barnes for windows replacements. And I'm just curious, what are they replacing? I mean, it does look nice already, so I'm just curious. Thank you.
Anyone on my right? Anyone on my left? Anyone else in the audience? We'll close citizens' comments and move on to the consent, calendar. But before we do, there's a change to
H.
item H.
Yeah, instead of disposition, it's
Instead of
acquisition.
disposition, it is acquisition of one property. There was a typo in the agenda. Is there, Councilman Johnson?
Yeah, I move approval of the discussion, item B, I'd like to move to item 1A under new business.
Right. Right. Motion to approve the consent calendar, moving item B to 1A. Jim Hart supported.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion on the consent calendar? Any discussion on this consent calendar? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
Council has approved the following consent calendar items: minutes of the regular meeting held September 17, 2018, approval of bid for Jefferson Barnes Community Center professional window replacement services. Administration recommended the lone bidder, KJP Roofing, amount not to exceed $7,250. Approval of bid for professional services related to the removal and replacement of a storage garage at Voss Park. Administration recommended the lone bidder, Soleil Building Company, amount not to exceed $59,000. Approval of purchase of 4 lawnmowers and 2 enclosed trailers, purchased from Weingarts, amount not to exceed $114,986. Approval of contract extension between the City of Westland and Wayne Westland Community Schools regarding the John Glenn High School Police Officer Liaison. This agreement shall be effective for a 1-year period, commencing immediately. Approval of Suburban Mobility Authority for Regional Transportation, otherwise known as SMART, contract to allocate the City of Westland's municipal and community credits to Nankin Transit for the transportation services that it provides to senior citizens and disabled individuals in the community. Amounts are $82,726 in municipal credits and $126,319 in community credits, and authorizes the mayor and city clerk to execute on behalf of the city. Adoption of prepared resolution authorizing the acquisition of one property, 32250, 32522, 32524, and 32526 Lydia Court, acquired through the Neighborhood Stabilization, Community Development Block Grant, and Home Programs for demolition or resale to eligible first-time home buyers, and/or to hold for future redevelopment in exchange for the resulting public purpose. The Director of Housing and Community Development is authorized to sign the closing documents on behalf of the city. Adoption of prepared resolution accepting Popeyes Westland 342754 Ford Road, long-term maintenance of stormwater management system and corresponding maintenance agreement executed by the developer. The mayor and city clerk are authorized to sign the agreement on behalf of the city. Adoption of Parkside Credit Union, 1747 South Newburgh Road, long-term maintenance of stormwater management system and corresponding maintenance agreement executed by the developer. The mayor and city clerk are authorized to sign the agreement on behalf of the city. The last item on the consent calendar is item K, adoption of prepared resolution designating November 24, 2018 as Small Business Saturday in the city of Westland. Moving to new business, item 1A, approval of bid for purchase of residential refuse equipment. Administration recommended the low bidder, Bell Equipment, in an amount not to exceed $378,800.
Councilman Johnson.
I'd like to amend item 1 to reflect the full purchase of these trucks from the CIP fund and that no additional rubbish trucks to be purchased in the 2019 budget year.
There's
Is that a motion to approve that way?
Motion to approve
motion
it
to
that way.
approve. There's a motion to approve by Councilman Johnson, supported by Councilman Landau. Councilwoman Green.
Yes, I'd like to start by thanking Paul for coming in tonight to provide additional information on this request. And I'd also like to state that I think your company does a great job for the city of Westland. I'm very pleased with the fact that your company, just in general conversation, that you do hire felons to work for your company and give people a second chance to get their life back on track. As the owner of a construction company, I also hire felons, so I appreciate you giving people the opportunity to at a second chance. Now, with all of that being said, we kind of ran out of time during our study session. And so there were a few concerns that I had. Now, granted, I know that if you're stating that these trucks are old and they're not operable, we have to make a hard decision here. The issue that I have is that the trucks have not been inspected by a professional mechanical. They have not been professionally mechanically inspected outside of the city of Westland. So there's nothing documented, and I talked to you about that when we conversed via telephone, that there's nothing documented to state that these trucks are on their last leg. Now, I'm not stating that they're not, but for a roughly $400,000 in additional funding request, I would think that we would have something documenting the condition of these trucks other than the fact that they are old, especially when some of council has not seen the trucks. I know tonight Councilman Johnson did state that he saw the trucks, but I haven't saw the trucks. And for $400,000 in taxpayers' money, I would like to see an inspection report from a professional mechanical, or excuse me, a professional mechanical mechanic, and not just one. For $400,000, I think we should have 3 inspections. Most companies, when you're submitting bids, on average, it is very typical to get 3 bids before you make a decision and make sure everything is apples to apples. So I was concerned about that. I also had a concern regarding a few months ago, or a handful of months ago, we sat down with you. We gave you a raise on the existing contract. We also gave you a 10-year contract extension.
6 years.
Yeah, it was an extension, a lengthy extension, to which I asked that the city attorney add the ability to have a out clause with a 6-month notice if the finances in the city of Westland change, to give us the opportunity to not be financially locked into a contract that we may no longer be able to afford due to the length. So we just sat down a few months ago. We gave you an upfront lump sum payment. We gave you a raise that you request based on your request. Everything you requested, you got. And we just did the budget. The budget just took effect, the new budget, in July. And when we had the study session for sanitation, I believe you were present at that meeting. It was not at any point that this council was made aware of the condition of these trucks that are now almost $400,000, a cost of $400,000 inoperable. So again, I'm not negating the fact that they may or may not be. My issue is we just did a budget. This was never mentioned, was not mentioned in the study session. We just gave you everything that you asked for a few months ago. And I think that the fact that you did state that whatever this change would occur provides in terms of where the compost is dumped could save the city $50,000 to $60,000. None of that is documented. So in my professional opinion, it should be. We're talking very generally. Well, we can save the city almost $60,000. Who documented that so we can hold somebody accountable to our savings and our bottom line? Where's the documentation on the trucks being inoperable, which again, they very well may be, but this is $400,000 in additional monies above the contract that we just gave or renewed with you. And I want to know, in terms of the trucks that are bad, is there a plan to sell these, to turn the title over to the city, since the city is going to have to buy these new trucks? The contract that we have, the city buys all the trucks, and we make a percentage of the payments. So when the city buys these new trucks for $400,000, are you turning over the title to the city? Is there any plans for us to sell the bad trucks or scrap them so that the city could make some sort of return? Or are you now the owner of these two trucks? Are you going to retain ownership of these trucks after we buy two new ones? Thank you.
To begin with, Councilwoman, thank you for your kind words in the beginning. I really do appreciate them. I believe everybody deserves a second chance in life. Secondly, when we talk about the equipment that is currently respectfully 12 and 14 years old, as far as the inspections go, we did have it looked at by Weights and Measures, who are considered experts in the trucks, okay? I also have over 30 years. I loaded behind a truck, I drove a truck for 6 years. So I would consider myself extremely well-schooled when I come to this body about these equipment. The other caveat that is included in this is that we were not expecting, amongst our wildest dreams, and thank you, bulk pickup has been a huge success. The issue is we're moving on 8,500 since July 1st. The equipment simply did not expect to have that put on it that quickly into that success. My thought patterns were to, because of everything this body has done over the last year, is to hold off until the next budget year before we talked about Packers. It is also my responsibility to this body and to the residents to tell this body, as embarrassing as it may be, that I have very real concerns about the equipment holding up with a very heavy season coming up. I had a choice. I can come to this body and describe the problem, and we can get the problem solved together, or I can continue to say nothing and have the problem, which would affect the service at the curb. And I do believe that we have very good service. I do not say that it's perfect. We are doing 15,000 services a day in the city of Westland. We're not perfect, but we strive every single day to be perfect. What am I not answering, Councilwoman? I'm sorry. There's a multi-question.
About what is going to happen with the trucks that you own that the city is now on the hook to replace?
The trucks that I own, if the city, I don't see why the city would even entertain the title of those trucks. But the trucks that are remaining are to be used, and any work to do on those trucks that I could make them sound will be done to be used as spares. Simply because even with new equipment, to do the maintenance that Mr. Graham pointed out, you need to take these offline to do the proper maintenance. So we're in front of this body asking for 2 Packers. It takes more than 2 Packers to pick up the city of Westland on a daily basis. It takes minimally 3, minimally. 5 in the heavy season, spring. We all know what we do in the spring. And the fall with the leaves. At the same time, I'm committed that I do believe that this is, thankfully, the last time I'll have to come in front of you during a budget year to ask you for this consideration.
Councilman Johnson, you had it?
No, I just let my light.
Okay.
I have additional comment to the petitioner. And I appreciate you stating that with your years of experience, which is 30-plus years, I know that this is a long-term family-owned contract that went
Thank
from
you.
your family to you now. So I don't question your level of professionalism or ability. But with you being the person who is doing the work and essentially getting the checks, I don't think that you are the best person to, and this is my professional opinion, to say I need $400,000 more dollars, because you would be considered biased in this situation, because this is your company. The monies that we gave you were in the excess that we thought we were giving you a few months ago was due to the bulk pickup. Now, I understand that you are saying that there's been a big demand and that would reasonably happen in the city to where it was taken away from our residents and now they have it again. So I'm not surprised by the volume of residents who would now want to partake in that service once again. But we don't give $400,000, well, and I'm talking for myself. I wouldn't approve $400,000 for somebody to keep 2 spares. You want $400,000, that means these trucks are on the last leg and they're getting ready to go in a few weeks. So why would we give you $400,000? And you're saying with that comment that these can possibly still be used. Either they are on their last leg and we need new ones, or we don't.
Councilwoman, first off, you're not giving me $400,000. You're buying 2 pieces of equipment.
Taxpayers will
Yes,
give you
I understand that,
$400,000. Thank you.
but secondly, when we did the existing contract that we're under, the other check was for the lack of a unit count going back quite a ways that I had foregone. So it was not for anything as far as that goes. I had foregone a unit count increase for many, many years. So that was a 1/2 of a year of a unit count increase, that's what that represented, okay? Secondly, what I've done and grown up doing in the city of Westland is advising the governing body to the best that I can to both save money through the public partnership program, which is what these trucks fall under, and it saves a considerable amount of money. I have done to the best of my ability to advise the governing bodies of the city of Westland for many, many years. Me personally, since 1992. I am very proud of my track record in the city of Westland, keeping the budget under control, especially in 2010, especially in 2014. We came to bat. So, what I'm trying to say is that I am still proud. I don't like coming for the additional 2 Packers, but I have to because it's necessary. Now, what I'm asking you to do is understand that after my whole life has been in this industry, and when I talk about a spare vehicle and what they face every day compared to a new vehicle that's a mainline vehicle, it's much, much different. We're talking about the spare vehicles going into a position to where they're used once, one day here and there, compared to an everyday 6:30 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon, driving 100 feet, revving up, stopping, moving up another 100 feet, revving up and stopping, before they go into a landfill and go on an incline of around this, in the mud, to discharge their load, okay? I'm trying to say that I trust my instincts and I trust my brain over anybody that could advise you. I do know what I'm talking about. And I haven't known you long. I'm going to strive so that you can understand that I do know what I'm talking about. And I do know when I say that these are going to be allocated to spares and what I need for equipment, and that I will not have to come to this body in 2019. I know that. I tried to get the Packers to last. I exceeded the 7-year outside ability for those Packers. That is the industry standard, 7 years at the most. We're talking 12 to 14 years. So, I'm sorry. I know it's not personal. It's a family-owned business, as I said. I think we had a conversation once. I take things too personally, and I apologize if I'm all out of line. Thank you.
Mayor, you had?
Thank you, Council President. I just asked for clarification on the second part of Councilman Johnson's motion. I didn't catch the budget year. You wanted to restrict the purchase of, was it the current budget?
2019 budget.
Next budget year,
Paul said he thought he could get through 2019 without
without an additional Cobra or Python trash truck.
So we're talking the 2019-20?
20, yes.
Okay. The only thing I would caution on that is that's a different kind of truck than what we're talking about tonight.
Right.
So moving forward with our regular trash trucks, we started the cycle of replacing them this year. So are we suggesting that we take a pause on that for a year? Because the trucks that we're talking about there are totally different than the trucks we're talking about here tonight. So I just would, obviously we can go through the same amount of, detail and stuff when and if we're going to budget that next year, but they are different trucks than we're talking
Right.
about tonight.
Councilman Johnson?
Maybe I can clear it up a little bit, Mayor. Paul and I, he's tired of talking to me. We talked all week last week. We went through great length.
I'm not tired of talking to you, sir.
Okay. We went through great length discussing this. He assured me, I asked for 2 years. He said, can't give you 2 years, but he is absolutely positive. He says he can make it through the 2019 and 20 budget year without the purchase of a Python, correct?
As I indicated before, Mayor, as indicated to Councilwoman Green, 7 years is considered the industry standard for the outside life of these vehicles. Next year, these vehicles will be 5 years old. Based on the inspections we've had and the shape they're in, I feel very comfortable that we can avoid 1 year of any type of purchases when it comes to the Pythons.
Is there any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any dissent? Councilwoman Green?
Yes, thank you, Paul. I am going to, and again, I'm not negating what your abilities are. I am going to respectfully, we'll be doing a roll call. I am going to respectfully vote no on this without documentation from professional outside mechanics to verify the current condition of these trucks. And something documented from, you said going to Carlton to dump would save the city $60,000. I want them to tell us that in writing so that we can make sure we're getting our money's worth by this additional expense of almost $400,000 that was not budgeted for. I'm going to vote no. I'm only one no, and I respectfully vote no. Again, I respect you and the things that you do here in the city. This is not personal. For me, this is all business. So I am a no unless additional documentation from a standpoint of verification comes in. Thank you.
Thank you for your consideration, Councilwoman.
I'm going to have the clerk read back the revised motion.
Thank you. This item is approval of bid for purchase of residential refuse equipment. Administration recommended the low bidder, Bell Equipment, in an amount not to exceed $378,800. As modified, monies to be allocated from CIP funds from the 2019 budget.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Green.
No.
Councilman Hammonds.
Yes.
Councilman Hart.
Yes.
Councilman Herzberg.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson. Yes. Councilman Londo.
Yes.
President Godbout.
Yes.
Motion passes. New business, item 1.
There was more to that motion. It was to forego the purchase. Oh, did you put that in there? To forego the purchase in the 2019-20 year of a additional garbage truck?
As I read it back, Councilman, it was that it would be allocated from the 2019 budget.
Nothing should be.
No,
allocated.
the future purchase of the there would not be a purchase next year of an
what it said.
additional truck.
Slick.
Next time, Councilman, stop me midstream. All right, so what I have here is that amend the item to reflect the full purchase of the trucks from CIP fund, and that no additional rubbish trucks will be purchased in the 2019 budget year.
1920.
We'll redo the roll call vote on that motion.
Councilwoman Green.
No.
Councilman Hammonds. Yes. Councilman Hart. Yes. Councilman Hersberg. Yes. Councilman Johnson. Yes. Councilman Londo.
Yes.
President Godbout.
Yes.
Motion passes. Minutes will reflect that additional language. New business, item 1. Approval of revised site plan for proposed exterior renovations to Aldi, 707 South Wayne Road, east side of Wayne Road, south of Cherry Hill. Planning Department number 2149, revision 2. Planning Commission recommends approval contingent upon departmental requirements and recommendations.
Motion by Councilman Hersberg, supported by Councilman Londa. Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, sir. Just to call everybody's attention to the screen, as the clerk had indicated, this is the Aldi's on South Wayne Road. What they're proposing is really twofold: a 2,700 square foot addition to the front of the building and an exterior update. The renovations will be constructed with brick. We'll also have metal cement board accents. So the images you see, the non-colored images are really how the building looks now. The top image and the third image down are how it will look when all is said and done. All affected departments reviewed it, have no objection, therefore approval is recommended, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Is the petitioner present?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Council President, councilors. My name is Ryan Anderson. I'm with ISG, engineer for Aldi on this project. Want to say a quick thank you to Bruce and staff for answering questions and working with us and making this a relatively easy and quick process to get to this point. It looks like you guys have a busy night ahead of you, so I would be happy to answer any questions you have at this time.
Is there any discussion from the council? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously. Good
Thank you.
luck. Thank you.
New business, item 2. Approval of proposed rezoning from CB4, vehicle service, to L1, light industrial, parcel number 05099 0004 001 39139 Ford Road, south side of Ford, west of Hicks, Planning Department number 2215. Planning Commission recommends approval and further directs the city attorney to draft the necessary ordinance amendment.
Is there a motion? Motion by Councilman Hart. Is there support? Council Hammonds. Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman Hammonds. Is there support? Support by Councilman Hart.
See how that works.
Mr. Thompson.
Thank you. This is the property in question. Most of you know it as the former Radiator Hospital site. It's actually going to be under the same ownership. What they're looking to do is rezone it. It's one property zone CB4, vehicle service. Obviously, the zoning fit the previous use of the property. Otherwise, it's surrounded completely by industrially zoned and occupied properties. And the request is to rezone it to light industrial for an expansion and reuse of the property with more of an industrial, commercial industrial nature, again, by the same ownership. All the surrounding properties, again, are industrial in nature. In their review in July, The Planning Commission found that the use is compatible with existing industrial uses in the area and zoning as well. The project has been vacant for many years. It's not likely to be used for automotive services, again, given its current location. The proposed rezoning meets the 2018 City of Westland Master Plan Future Land Use Map for industrial use of the property. Taking all those factors into account, the Planning Commission is recommending approval of the rezoning, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Is the petitioner present?
Yes.
Do you have anything you'd like to add?
No.
Is there any discussion from the council? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
New business, item 3, approval of site plan for proposed addition to exterior building, parcel number 05099-0004-001, 39139 Ford Road, south side of Ford, west of Hicks. Planning Department number 2215A. Planning Commission recommends approval contingent upon departmental requirements and recommendation and contingent upon the petitioner receiving the necessary variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Motion by Councilman Hersberg. Is there support? Support by Councilman Landau. Mr. Thompson?
Thank you, sir. And, the variances were granted, just so that council knows, at the last zoning board meeting for the site plan that you see here. Really talking about increasing the building size by 2/3, bringing their business back here to the city of Westland from the city of Detroit. The site will really be brought into the 21st century, all new parking, landscaping, lighting, signage, all of the things that make a site plan under our zoning ordinance requirements. And with that variance, this plan meets ordinance requirements and approval is recommended.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Is there any discussion from the council? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
New business, item 4, approval of proposed land division, parcel number 07406-1205-000, east side of Emerson Avenue, east of Wildwood and south of Palmer, Planning Department number 2218. Planning Commission recommends approval and further directs the city attorney to draft the necessary land division resolution.
Is there a motion? Motion by Councilman Hammond, supported by Councilman Hersberg. Mr. Thompson?
Thank you. This is a lot in the Norwayne area on Emerson. It's surrounded by a variety of uses, including quadplexes, duplexes. This is brought to you through our Community Development Department, was reviewed by the Planning Commission, and did receive the necessary variances from the Zoning Board of Appeals. Therefore, the lots that are proposed meet the ordinance standards, and approval is recommended as well in this case.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Is there any discussion from the council? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
New business, item 5, confirmation of reappointment of Lori Wilson to the Westland Planning Commission for a 3-year term with the term to expire September 17, 2021.
Motion by Councilman Johnson. Is there support? Support by Councilman Hammonds. Is there any discussion? Mayor?
Thank you, Council. Ms. Wilson is in the audience tonight. You know her, she's a longtime resident of the city of Westland. She's probably our longest-serving continuous commissioner in the city right now. She's proudly served in the planning commission since 2000, so that's 18 years. I think that she's the longest, if not the longest serving all of everybody, at least the most continuous on one board. She's a key person on the planning commission, and we're asking you to reappoint her so she can continue her good work. Thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion from the council? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously. Ms. Wilson?
New business, item 6, confirmation of appointment of Gerald Danielowitz to the Downtown Development Authority for a 4-year term with the term to expire October 1, 2022.
Motion by Councilman Landau. Is there support? Support by Councilman Johnson. Mayor?
Thank you, Council. Mr. Deania, what the clerk said there, We know him as Jerry. Jerry, I believe he's out of the country tonight, so we're proud to ask you for his appointment tonight. Jerry is the owner and operator of Sportway on Ford Road, right by the overpass. They've been in operation in the city of Westland for over 30 years. They continue to reinvest in their property, and they still have continued plans for growth and improvement down the road. And we think that with his business acumen, that he'll be a great addition to the Downtown Development Authority.
Thanks. Is there any discussion from the council? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
New business item 7, nomination of member to the Westland Zoning Board of Appeals to fill an unexpired term with the term to expire May 6, 2020. Mr. Merrill Downing has submitted a letter requesting consideration for reappointment as a regular member.
Is there a motion? Motion by Councilman Landau. Is there support? Support by Councilwoman Green. Is there,
To nominate.
to nominate? There's a nomination by Councilman Landau. Are there any other nominations? Motion to close nominations by Councilman Hammonds. Is there support? Support by Councilman Hart. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
New business item 8, appointment of member to the Westland Board of Appeals to fill an unexpired term with the term to expire May 6, 2020. Merrill Downing has been nominated for appointment as a regular member.
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Hersberg, supported by Councilman Hart. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously. Mr. Downing?
New business item 9, approval of voucher.
Is there a motion by Councilman Hersberg? Is there support? Support by Councilman Landau. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously. We'll move on to citizens' comments or requests. Citizens will be recognized at the end of the meeting immediately following the agenda item approval of vouchers. Citizens are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes. All citizens wishing to speak will be heard. Is there anyone on my left? Anyone on my right? Mr. Johnson.
I'd like to take this opportunity to announce that on October 25th, the Norwayne Community Citizens Council will be inducting 4 additional people into our Hall of Fame. Those inductees include Jeff Stiers. Jeff Stiers' family resided on Mount Morency Court in the Norwayne community. And as you know, Jeff has contributed a lot of his time, a lot of his spirit, and some of his treasury and creating the Norwayne Boxing Gym within the Norwayne community. The second person that we are inducting is former city council person, James Paffel. James Paffel resided on Sheboygan Court in the Norwayne community, served many years on the Westland City Council, served as a mayor near Flint. I forget the name of the city. And his family has continued their contribution to the Norwayne community. And then the third set of inductions is a father-son duo, and it is Charles Cayley and Michael Cayley. Charles Cayley was a Nankin Township trustee and lived on Ogama Court. Mr. Cayley, Michael Cayley, grew up in the Norwayne community as a very successful businessman in the city of Chicago, and he too often comes back to the neighborhood. So I really want to thank you all for all the support that you give our community, but I also want to also personally invite each of you to this on October 25th, Jefferson Barnes, 6 o'clock in the evening. Then I have one question. The property on Emerson, and I know I should have done this up front, what is the plan for that? And are we going to make sure this time, whatever we put up there, it's going to look compatible to what is there, that we don't get a multi-level complex like we did in the 1970s? Thank you.
Is there anyone on my left? Ray?
Well, first of all, I want to say, I want to thank Joanne over there that answered my questions about the Jefferson Barnes. Really appreciate that. Thank you. And anyway, I want to talk about the Westland Police Department. I'm going to give them some positive ways. They, for special needs, I want to thank them for inviting the Disability Concern Board to this part of that planning, which I thought was great, and I went to it, and they did a real good job. Bob Walkie, I can't think of the other officers, but they'll know, they're community officers. They did a great job, and I was really happy what I saw. And I think it's great that everybody should be a part of that, even people with special needs. That's what we call community inclusive. It's very important to me. And I was really happy to see that. And I'm a very busy person myself. I drove up to Crystal Mountain, recipient rights, talked about civil rights, talked about all kinds of things. So I know what the rights are. Before we even go to all that, you should always try to work things out with your people first before you even do anything like with civil rights. That's the last thing a person should ever do. Anyway, I have a webinar coming up the 23rd. And I'll have more details of that on the 15th of the next city council. I'm only going to invite certain people to my event because the agency, because I got such a wonderful story of my life. I am standing here today doing great things in the community, and I will be sending out invitations to people. And anyway, obviously we talked about that. And I want to talk about Joy Road. It's great. It's looking good. And I'm glad the road crews are getting back out there. We need to get these roads fixed. I love Joy Road so far. It's nice and smooth. And anyway, the fire department, I'm going to give you guys heads too. I know you don't get enough credit, but you guys are doing a good job. So, thank you.
Is there anyone on my right? Yes, sir.
Hello. My name is Clem Kasser, and I am one of the owners of Forest Lane Apartments. And in 1975, our family bought that property. And since the O'Reilly's Secretary of State shopping area, since they tapped into what was our infrastructure when they built Forest Lane Apartments in 1964, we have been taking on water every time we get rain at a large amount of rain in a short period of time, and we flood. And I have been calling the city, and there is a ditch behind our property that no one will claim. I called the city says it's the state. I called the state says it's the county, and it's just a vicious circle. I've paid someone to trench it last fall. I've paid someone to trench it in the spring. I've clear cut the property, and I'm spending my money maintaining a property, and it's not helping the drain at all. So I need help.
Mayor?
Sure. Well, thank you for being here tonight. If you want to stick around after the meeting, my deputy mayor and I can meet with you, and perhaps we can set up a meeting tomorrow to take a look at it.
Okay.
Our planning director, Bruce Thompson, just stepped out, so, but if you want to give us your information, we'll be glad to meet with you tomorrow and take a look at it.
Okay, sounds great.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
The one on my left. Bud?
Hi, Bud Somerville. I'm here for John Glenn. For the last 3 years, I've been trying to get a Veterans Night. October 12th will be our first Veterans Night. All veterans with ID will be brought in free. We're having uniforms that will, at the end of the game, the players will take their jersey off the back and present it to those families. And we're letting you all know we'd like to invite you. And Officer Shane Kozak, if nobody knows, he's a war hero. He's a Marine, Purple Heart recipient. He's one of them being honored that night. Hope to see all of you there. Thank you. Oh, and the vote, it's coming. You don't vote, you got no right to complain.
All right. Anyone on my left? Anyone on my right? Anyone else in the, yes.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jody White. I am running for state rep, and I want to thank Kevin Coleman and Tasha Green. They have been pretty active with some of my emails that are going around. As you guys know, I do have a lot of real estate experience, and I do kind of get concerned when properties are being wasted and or dissipated. A couple West End residents, because of my real estate experience, I saw houses everywhere. A couple West End residents, they bought a piece of property in '76, and the probate court is stealing it from them through attorneys and the probate process. I don't know if you've seen some photos of me on the Facebook. I was attacked from by a couple sheriffs from behind, and it's a very frightful place where I'm at right now. And I appreciate anybody that wants to appreciate everyone that watches our money and watches it for the people. With the probate court, it is a very systemic problem that's going on. I'm telling people to please, please, please get with somebody with your will and trust. I brought someone here. She would like to speak, but she's not a West End resident, but her companion committed suicide. And so she is one of those victims where her property is being stolen from by attorneys. So as a state rep, one of the jobs is Article 6 and Article 11 of the Constitution. And I'm a constitutional gal. I do appreciate the rules of law, the master plan, the things that our forefathers put together for us. The corruption must stop. Whether it's Kevin or myself, I think both of us would be awesome state reps to represent the 16th. And I think it's something that has to be on a high priority. We are in the baby boomer situation. It's a $4.5 trillion industry by 2035. And these properties do not belong to associations or entities. They belong to the people. So families, get along, get your wills intact, and if you have any issues with any probate issues, the state is trying to start documenting it. So my number is 734-564-8401, 734-564-8401. We are documenting the amount of people that are finding that the probate system has not worked in their favor. So thank you again for all of you serving. It's a lot harder than what people think. As I'm a candidate, I am realizing the phone calls you start to get. So again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you all for serving and taking care of our city of Westland. Thank you.
Anyone on my left? Anyone on my right? Mrs. Kozak.
Good evening. I wanted to apologize right up front because my speech may go a little over 3 minutes allotted, so I apologize, but I'm going to try to get it through really fast. Okay. Bonjay Kozak, Westland. Good evening, members of the City Council and members of the City Government. On September 21st, 2018, our POW MIAs were remembered. The event did a lot to bring to mind these service members who are missing among us. Deputy Mayor shared with us that there are still to date 83,000 POWs unaccounted for. This number is astounding. It speaks of 83,000 Americans who want to come home and in greater numbers of the families whose hope is to have them come home. It has been said, the best trip is a road that leads home. In addition, at the event, we celebrate the homecoming of one of our own MIA, our Uncle Walter Mintus, U.S. Navy radio man, 3rd class. The plane was shot down by the enemy fire Japanese during World War II, hitting the waters of the Palua Island near Malacca Harbor. There, he, with another service member, remained for 74 years 47,000 days calculated out and shared by our city clerk at the event. On the POW MIA flag, it states, "You are not forgotten." They have not been forgotten. I am here on behalf of the Kozak family to express our grateful gratitude to the many people who have made this homecoming possible. The Bent Prop Project, a nonprofit organization with this many volunteers, was responsible for searching and locating wreckages of our MIAs in Palua Island. Many thanks to dedication and the work done by the Defense POW MIA Accountability Agency for recovering and identifying MIAs through DNA testing. We want to thank those who attended the September 21st event. Fire Chief Stratner, Police Chief Jeruzik, Councilwoman Green, Councilman Landau, City Clerk Richard LeBlanc, Deputy Mayor Reddy, Judge Cicerelli, Judge McConnell, Wayne County Commissioner Glenn Anderson, Donald, Mrs. Stottlemyre, our friends and families, and many others whom we did not know. To all those who wanted to attend, but circumstances kept you away, we thank you for your remembrance of our POW MIAs and us that day. This Remembrance VFW annual POW MIA and homecoming event came together by the efforts of the Westland Police Department Honor Guard. Officer Sleep reached out to Commander Rokita of BOVA VFW Post. Thank you. At the conclusion of the memorial service, Sergeant Horat delivered a stirring speech. In closing, he welcomed home Walter Mentis, our uncle. Thank you. Cadillac Memorial of Westland have donated tombstone in honor of Uncle Bert, which will be laid at the BOVA VFW grounds. Inch Memorial of Northville donated plaque in honor of Uncle Bert. Plaque states Uncle Bert's full name and his credentials with the inscription, "Welcome home, hero. Thank you for your service." Our family was deeply moved and touched by this act of kindness by all the members of the communities. We are filled with gratitude to our military and the police. Without their dedication and service, our ability to live in peace and security is not possible. I am always reminded that these people, the first responders, the police, fire, and our military, when called, these are the people who run towards danger, risking their lives every day for their nation and communities. Freedom, peace, and security comes to us all at a high price. God bless the members of our military, police, and fire department. We pray that He keeps them safe. God bless us all, and God bless America, truly the land of the free and home of the brave. Thank you.
Anyone on my left? Yes.
Good evening, everybody. City Council Mayor Kevin Coleman, candidate for state representative this November. I just wanted to announce a candidate forum that's coming up, and I think it's important that everybody watching have access to the candidates that are running. And this one is a specific one, and that's why I'm coming up. This is the Detroit Wayne County Mental Health Authority's Michigan Candidate Forum, focusing on issues of people with disabilities and seniors. U.S. Representative Debbie Dingle, State Rep Erica Geis, and some other candidates as well will be there. This is Friday, October 19th at the Considine Little Rock Family Life Center, 8904 Woodward Avenue, Detroit, Michigan, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Hope to see you there. If not, there may be video of the event. Thank you.
One on my right? Anyone on my left? Anyone else in the audience? We'll close citizens' comments and move on to comments from the administration. Mayor?
Thank you, Council, and good evening, everyone. I'm going to start off tonight. I'm going to introduce somebody. I thought she'd introduce herself. She's being bashful, but she's not bashful. I'd like to introduce our she's former state rep, Rashida Tlaib. She's your Democratic nominee for the 13th Congressional District, and she is poised to be our next congressperson to represent the city of Westland. So I know Westland's important to you, Ms. Tlaib, so thank you for being here tonight. Okay. Ms. Kozak, thank you for your wonderful words tonight, too. And a lot of people may not have put it together, but that was her son that was here in the beginning as one of our community police officers that was, he's doing a great job for us, and he was part of the group that was donating the money to the Norwayne Community, Norwayne Citizens Advisory Committee, so thank you. Just a couple things, then I want to go through a couple things, but a couple things on the agenda didn't get much attention tonight, but I think they're worth noting. Tonight, council moved forward with a contract extension between the City of Westland and the Wayne Westland Community Schools. This is our contract that we have that places one of our Westland police officers inside John Glenn High School, and it's something that we've done for a while, so I appreciate the fact that we're re-upping that moving forward, and I know that the City of Wayne is currently working with the school district to try to put an officer in Wayne Memorial, so. And also, there was a purchase, it may not seem like a lot, but there was a purchase of some new lawnmowers and trailers and stuff for the DPS. This is actually dedicated equipment for the Parks and Recreation crew. We've invested a lot of money in our parks over the last couple budgets, and they struggled to there's like a push and pull with the DPS to get their hands on equipment. So we bought, tonight, this purchase will be for dedicated equipment just for our parks, so we were able to kind of specialize a little bit what we're going to buy so we can make sure that we keep our parks looking nice moving forward. There was also something on the consent calendar tonight, a proclamation declaring November 24th, 2018, Small Business Saturday. This is something that continues to grow nationwide. The City of Westland has been recognizing Small Business Saturday since its beginning. I think it's been about 7 or 8 years now. I can tell you that according to the United States Small Business Administration, there are currently 30 million small businesses in the United States, and they represent 99.7% of all businesses with employees in the United States. So think about that. 99.7% of businesses in the United States are small businesses. And they're responsible for 65% of the new job growth that's been created since the year 2000. So we'd certainly recognize Small Business Saturday in the City of Westland, and we'll continue to promote it again this year. And the statistics say that about 70% of every dollar spent in a local business stays in the community. So we'll encourage folks to participate in Small Business Saturday. We've been pretty fortunate the last couple meetings to talk about a lot of new investments in the city, and we were glad to see the folks from Aldi come in tonight with a refresh and an expansion of their successful business on Wayne Road. Earlier, at the end of last week, we actually were over at Greenwood Villa, which is the senior high-rise right behind City Hall here, across from the new fire station. And we cut the ribbon on a new $13 million reinvestment in Greenwood Villa, which has been in the city of Westland for about 40 years. This new $13 million investment included a new community room, a beauty salon, a clinic, a game room, a fitness center. They remodeled the business office. The clubhouse has been renovated. You'll see a lot of pavilions and seating areas outside for the residents. And they also did extensive renovation in each and every apartment, including appliances, carpet, tile, and bathtubs. So there's 210 apartments here. It's 11-story high-rise, and it's designed for the elderly, 62 years and older, and persons with disabilities. So we definitely appreciate their reinvestment in our community. Ms. Campbell stepped out tonight, but City Council, I think you were in on this, that we received word from HUD that the Westland Housing Commission received a Section 8 Management and Assessment Program score of 100% for the 2017-18 fiscal year. They do an incredible job year after year, and we're so proud of the work that they do. And due to their work, 1,240 families benefit from safe and affordable housing in the metropolitan area, because as part of that program, you can't just administer for your own city, you have to administer the program throughout the metropolitan area. So we appreciate their fine work. It's that time of the year again where we're going to be celebrating Halloween at the Westland City Hall with our annual, we call it our Westland City Halloween celebration. It takes place here at City Hall on October 24th from 5:30 to 7:30. And there'll be numerous trick-or-treating stops throughout the building, donuts and cider, a DJ dancing, and we just found out that the first 1,000 kids will walk home with a free pumpkin that night too. So 1,000 sounds like a lot, but last year we estimated we had 2,000 kids here. So if there's someone out there that wants to donate another 1,000 pumpkins, we'll take them. So, but it's open to the public. It's completely free. A lot of those community groups that you saw us give checks out for Blues, Brews, and Barbecue a few weeks ago are turning around and reinvesting those dollars to help us offset the cost of this event with candy. Plus, we also have sponsors, Parkside Dental, North Brothers Ford, Gordon Chevrolet, Remax Cornerstone, Westland Car Care, and Michigan Chiropractic Specialist. And then it'd be remiss if I didn't mention today that the news broke this morning that the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office was going to be leveling criminal charges against some employees of the city of Westland, 2 firefighters, EMS employees, and one of our police sergeants too. And I certainly don't want to minimize the seriousness of those charges because they're felony charges. They're very serious. Because this is kind of fluid and it's kind of moving forward and the arraignment's going to be a little bit later this week, myself, the police chief, and the fire chief have official statements that are available on the City of Westland's website on the front page. So we're going to kind of stick to those statements here for the next couple of days as this moves forward. I can tell you that it's something that we're taking very serious. When we had the family of William Marshall in front of the city council, we told them that we were going to do everything in my power, the police chief's power, and the fire chief's power to make sure that something like this doesn't happen again. I met this afternoon with both the police and fire chief, and the one thing that we've learned in public safety is every day is a training day. And so they're going to be taking this opportunity to take a look at everything that they're doing from the top to the bottom. Not only our policies, but how we interact with people. And so I have full confidence in the world that these 2 gentlemen are going to do the right thing. And I want you to be proud of your Westland Police Department and your Westland Fire Department because they work hard every day to protect our citizens. And like I said, we'll work through this, and we wish the Marshall family peace moving forward. And then the last thing, Council President, I know I'm getting a little lengthy tonight, but he snuck out of here. But the City of Westland's going to be losing a long-time employee to retirement. Bruce Thompson has filed his retirement papers with the city. He's been our longest-serving department head. He's served through 5 mayors, and he will be retiring, and his last day with the City of Westland will be October 19th, and he didn't want me to say anything tonight, and he thought I would, so that's why he took off. So, Council, he will not be at the next council meeting because of a prearranged meeting he's got to attend, but so Charles House will be presenting that night. Bruce will be overseeing the Planning Commission tomorrow night, but his last day with us will be October 19th. He's a West End resident. He's done a great job, and he's going to have some big shoes for us to fill. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor. Anything from the city attorney's office?
Nothing this evening.
Councilman Johnson.
Thank you. Real quick, Lori, Gerald, and Merrill, congratulations on your appointments. You know what you're getting into. Merrill, I'm not sure you do, but you're not going to get rich on those jobs. I say it every time. Thanks for serving, and you've always come to the pump. You've been, like the mayor said, you've been around forever. I want to get back to this garbage truck thing because I spent a lot of time with Steve and Paul last week. Foregoing this truck next year is $300,000 of the purchase price of these trucks that we just bought. And 1 year's savings on the tipping fees, and Steve figured it out. He spent a lot of time with me last week figuring out the fees. He thinks we're going to save $50,000 on those tipping fees. He has the rates, and I believe his numbers. And the $72,000 in interest, we won't have incurred that money spent, but it's a savings. But just with the not going, buying the new truck next year and the savings on the tipping fees, it almost pays for these trucks. And these trucks are junk. Paul took me, I viewed the trucks. They're falling apart. His plans are to try and get 2 of them worthy enough to do the special pickups and use the new ones for leaves because special pickups are so much harder on the trucks. But I had doubts about going with this, but when Paul said he could get by without the city spending that $300,000, it did it for me. We either would have had to cancel the program or buy the trucks, and the program is working so well and the people love it so much, I couldn't see canceling the program. So I'm glad that Paul worked with us, and Steve gave me all the information he did because it makes a difference, and I just think it's a good purchase. Thanks.
Councilman Londa.
Thanks, President Gabao. I also want to start by thanking and congratulating the 3 individuals who were either appointed or reappointed to various boards and commissions in our city, starting with Ms. Wilson, Mr. Daniel Lewis, I guess I said it wrong probably, and Mr. Downing. I look forward to a positive working relationship with all of you, and thank you for your almost 18 years of experience in our city, Mrs. Wilson. Also want to congratulate and thank Bruce Thompson for his dedicated service to the community. As the mayor said, those are big shoes to fill. We're really going to miss him. And then Paul's not here right now, but I also want to thank Paul Ruthenberg from Midwestern Sanitation for the many, many hours spent meeting with me, and I'm sure a few other council members, and also the many questions over the phone. And to the woman's quote, something about us watching the money. We are watching the money. Like I said, I spent a lot of time with Paul. I didn't have to grill him tonight because I asked my questions beforehand. So I appreciate you bringing that up. Also wanted to, let's see here. Summer's almost over, which means it's time to start. Excuse me, lost my train of thought here. Summer is almost over, which means you're running out of time to visit the Westland Farmers and Artisan Marketplace located at Central City Park. There are only 2 weeks left to purchase the freshest produce and the finest handmade goods. Thursday, October 11th is going to be the last day of the market. So you have this Thursday and next Thursday from 3 to 7 p.m. at 1901 North Carlson Road, just off Ford Road. And I also wanted to take a minute to thank the Westland police officers for assisting our residents with a complaint I received. A longtime resident reached out to me with a concern about people speeding through his neighborhood near a bus stop for kids of all ages. I reached out to Sergeant Fruit from our traffic bureau, and he immediately contacted the resident with his concerns. While he wasn't able to add a stop sign due to the short distance between the blocks, he was able to send some extra patrols over there during the peak hours, and also added one of our traffic trailers with a speedometer on it to help slow the vehicles down. These compassionate acts have significantly made an impact on our children's safety in our community, so I really want to thank Sergeant Fruit and the Westland Police Traffic Bureau for keeping our kids safe. Also, I want to thank the officers that came out tonight, Officer Kozak and Officer Donald, for putting on the Battle of the Badges event. I was your announcer for that game. It was a hot day out in Jefferson Barnes Community Vitality Center, and they also put on the Day for You, which included guided tours at the police department for children with special needs. I was able to attend that as well. It was absolutely incredible to see the joy on these kids' faces and the parents' faces to see the kids interacting with our police officers. Our Westland firefighters are having a hot dog lunch and open house on Saturday, October 13th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Fire Station 1, located right behind City Hall at 35701 Central City Parkway. Your $5 donation includes a hot dog, chips, and a drink, and every dollar that's donated is put right back into the community. There will be station tours, sidewalk CPR, smokehouse demos, fire extinguisher demos, and they'll also have a junior firefighter obstacle course and much more. There will also be free smoke alarms available. And then lastly, I'm wearing my pink tie and accessories in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which just started. It's a worldwide annual campaign involving thousands of organizations to highlight the importance of breast cancer awareness, education, and research. As someone who lost their mother to this terrible disease, I'll continue to fight for the cure, and I hope that you'll join me in this fight. Thanks.
Councilwoman Green.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to start tonight by thanking London and Kiera for leading the pledge. Also would like to remind everyone that October for the last 70 years has been identified by the Department of Labor as the National Disability Employment Awareness Month, and that is observed October, and it celebrates the contributions of workers with disabilities and educates about the value of a workforce inclusive of their skills and talents. So we want to continue to be inclusive here in our city, and I look forward to working with people who are already taking an impactful role in that effort to do more of that here in the city of Westland. I would also like to just personally congratulate, excuse me, our new Congresswoman-elect, Rashida Tlaib, who will be taking over the 13th Congressional District as of January 1. So congratulations on a race well-deserved. Would like to, as the gentleman stated, just as a reminder, we have a very big election coming up this year, and if you were not aware, there will be two televised gubernatorial debates. The first one will be coming up on October the 12th from 7 to 8 p.m. That one is going to take place in the city of Grand Rapids. However, if you would like to have a closer seat to the fire, so to speak, there is going to be one on October 24th in the city of Detroit at WDIV Studios. And that one is going to take place from 8 to 9 p.m., again, October 24th, here in Detroit, or the Detroit area. And that is for those who may not be aware, that debate is going to be between Democratic candidate Gretchen Whitmer and Republican candidate Bill Schuette. Finally, I'd like to end my comments just to just touch on what the mayor said about the press conference that came out today with Kim Worthy about the charging of some of our first responders and an officer in the death of the gentleman that occurred here in December. You know, some people, there is a misconception that if you speak out against any actions that you don't feel are appropriate, that you are anti-police or anti-this or anti-that, and that is totally not the case. My heart goes out to the families of the people who were charged today, because they are going to be largely impacted as well, regardless of the verdict, and also the family of that gentleman who died in our jail. I'm very grateful that 10 months later we have somewhat of a halfway point in terms of what is going to happen. One of the things that is most disheartening about this entire ordeal is that council was not aware of we had not seen the video, and we still have not seen the video, and we will not see the video of what occurred with Mr. Marshall, Mr. Marshall's incident. So we settled a case here in the city of Westland many months ago without having complete information as well, but there were several people within the city who did know what happened with Mr. Marshall, who were privy to those details in that video. And they are the mayor, the city attorney, and the police chief. And I am not saying it, I think the job that has been done here in Westland is tremendous. And I can say firsthand that we have awesome officers. And that this takes away nothing in terms of what they have done and continue to do here in our city. But there needs to be something done more than just a statement or a reactive training process, or to ask all of the Black people in the city and in surrounding areas with any type of authority to come to a community meeting to try and calm everything down, and then you walk out feeling like nothing much has changed. I would expect, there were no suspensions with what happened in his case other than the two EMS. God bless their soul, because 15 years, I wouldn't even, my heart goes out to everybody. But there was no suspensions or any type of disciplinary action taken within the police department, and the only one sitting up here who did not know what occurred is city council. That is not appropriate. It is disheartening However, speaking from a legal standpoint, I'm not sure if we had the right to know, but we settled the case. We were the deciding factor on whether the multi-million-dollar lawsuit would be paid. So I would ask that we, instead of being reactive, that we be proactive. And there's also a narrative that the demographics in Westland is absolutely changing, absolutely changing. If you don't believe me, go to the nearest grocery store. Westland is changing. However, the diversity within our city is not reflective in all areas of the demographics in our city. And it is a narrative that within the police department that we can't find any qualified or enough qualified minorities to join the force. But the Wayne County Sheriff's Department is hiring them all day long. So why don't we try and partner with some of the law enforcement agencies that are not having those troubles or struggles, finding people who qualify to work here in our city and maybe identify better with some of the people that they are protecting and serving. If you are not familiar with the people that you serve, you can mistakenly interpret a plea for the minimal amount of respect as being disrespectful when it's not, but you don't identify with their plea. So I would ask that the city, instead of taking a reactive, that we be proactive. And when we come to obstacles, if it is in fact that we could not, if the goal is to diversify within the city and that is an issue, there are several people within this country who has successfully done that. Why not reach out to some of them, even if they're not in the state of Michigan? I would be happy to. I have excellent relationships with law enforcement and elected officials all the way up to the federal level. I would be happy to assist or sit on a commission if I'm allowed to assist with those efforts. So again, my heart goes out to everyone who was involved. My heart goes out to the police department. And Chief Judge Rusick, you've never been involved in any of these incidents that occur, but you are the boss, just like I'm the boss of my company. So there is a degree of responsibility that is not dismissed in terms of what is occurring under the leadership within the city. So I would ask that we do more. Thank you.
Before I move on, Mr. Fasson.
Yes, through the chair, just wanted to make a couple of comments that may add some additional information to the comments of Councilwoman Green, so that the viewing public is aware of this. There was a termination as a result of this event already. One of the EMTs was terminated earlier in the year. That matter's now in a grievance process and will carry forward through the collective bargaining agreements. Second, I'd point out that as a matter of law, under the Freedom of Information Act, there are particular exceptions for when certain public records are not to be made available. In this instance, the Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy has directed that the videotape in question not be made available under FOIA. There will come a point in time when the defendants who are likely to be arraigned on Thursday, their defense team will receive those videos, and at that time, the exemption that is being used by the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office will be lifted, I assume, and we'll be able to make those videos available to a wider array of people. And then thirdly, I'd point out that the police department has, under its collective bargaining agreement in Act 78, been unable to move forward with further investigation due to a memorandum of understanding that exists under Act 78, so that there would be a 60-day clock on investigation of this matter. Notices have been given to the union today, that the police unions today, that those investigations will begin in the 60-day investigation, and if any discipline up to and including termination will occur out of that process. So there are multiple legal streams occurring in each of these, and I think we have to let them play out, recognizing that everybody is innocent until proven guilty. Thank you.
Councilman Hammonds. Councilman Hart.
Thank you, Council President. Real quick, a couple things. I'll try and be brief. Hank Johnson already put it out there, but I'll put it out there again. The Harvest Festival happening Saturday, October 20th from noon to 3 p.m., sponsored by the Norwayne Community Citizens Council, who's also partnered with the Rotary, St. Vincent de Paul, Life Care Christian Church. So there'll be walking tacos, as he said, trick or treat, petting farm, costume contest, pumpkin painting, pony rides, cider, donuts, lip sync battle, and all kinds of fun things you can think of at this event. So I encourage you guys to round up the children and get them all down there at the Jefferson Barnes Community Vitality Center and have an outstanding time. And thank you again for all the people that put it on. We appreciate it. I wanted to also thank Brian Jones here earlier. I've actually had the opportunity to work with Brian Jones. He's a gentleman that works over at the Hush Haunted House attraction. The guy's got his heart as big as a bus, and he's got a hard work ethic too. And interestingly, next to him was Beth Rolka, and I'm going to let you know that your name got mentioned today, Beth, on this video. She's the one that actually called me right away and said, "Jim, we have a problem. Something happened." And I says, "All right, Beth, I just got your email. What can I do?" "Never mind, I got it. Brian's on it." "Okay, never mind." So she's all over it. So Beth got Brian and talked to Cody, and like they said, within 24 hours, they got that taken care of. And what's interesting here is something I've said before, and it's something I think we need to realize. It's amazing what you can do when you don't care who gets the credit. Okay? So I think that's what's really important. Those guys went out there and just took care of it and just walked away and didn't want any credit for it. Brian didn't even know he was going to get called up today for that, but it was well deserved. So amen to him. With that, one last thing, and of course, Mike Londo stole the thunder, but rightfully so. Today is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and every October I make sure I recognize it, and I couldn't find my pink tie today, but of course, Mike found his. But it's one thing I want you guys to all remember. It's a very serious thing. Fight, fight, fight. Breast cancer hit our family, and if you want to know what the face of a fighter and a survivor looks like, my beautiful wife is sitting in here, and she kicked its tail 8 years ago. So thank you. And last but not least, also thank you to all the caregivers, because it's not easy on us either. So keep up the fight. Keep up the fight. Thank you.
Councilman Hersberg.
Thank you. Well, the easy thing about going last is a lot of the stuff was taken already. I think we're on a record here, actually. It might have been 5 or 6 meetings in a row. We got park improvements on the agenda, and then we got vacant properties turning into something else. They're either being built on or renovated or what have you. So usually that kind of stuff slows down this time of year, but we got Brian Harnos over here. He's working. I imagine you're going to come through the wintertime with some of this stuff too. So I'll just congratulate Merrill Downing to his appointment to the ZBA. He started as an alternate. They had some issues with people not attending, so he's being put up as a full member. Jerry to the DDA, and Miss Wilson, congratulations on your appointments, and thank you for continuing to serve for such a long time. So, and also happy belated birthday to May Williams.
I'd like to start this evening by thanking London Humphrey and Kiera Irby, the 2 4th-grade students from Elliott Elementary, for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Another thing that was on the consent calendar that didn't get much notice was the approval for the credits to Nankin Transit. And Nankin Transit is a great service that provides mobility for seniors and disabled throughout our community. And starting soon, we'll be adding the city of Canton. Is it already in place? To Nankin Transit. So that's a huge boost for our coverage area and allows our residents to get to a lot more facilities and take care of their business throughout multiple communities. I too'd like to thank Merrill for serving on the ZBA and for Mr. Danielowitz to the DDA, and then there's always Lori, who's been our longest contiguous service planning commissioner, and does a great job. And just want to thank you for continuing to serve the city in that capacity. I too would like to thank Officer Kozak and Officer Donald for all that they do as part of our community policing efforts. They did the day for the children with special needs. That was one of their ideas, as well as the basketball game that benefited the Norwayne Community Festival coming up. And those guys are always out there. They're at every event, and they're great officers within this city. I too would like to thank Brian Harnos for being the referee for the Battle of the Badges. There were some questionable calls out there, but they were, you know.
Through the chair, the police paid better.
But it was a great event, and it was hot that afternoon outside. So, and with that, is there a motion to adjourn?